All right, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. I have a pretty cheap bike for you guys right now, and I'm not talking about cheap as in it's like cheap. I'm talking about the price is cheap. This is a $1,000 e-bike, and if you use my coupon code, it is $8.99, 900 bucks. That's actually very cheap. Now, there are some pros and cons about this bike because it's under that $1,000 price mark. Most of the time, I would say that bikes are around $1,000 are very budget friendly. Bikes are about $2,000 are kind of intermediate, and then paying over $3,000, you're getting a premium e-bike for that price. And I understand a lot of you guys are looking for cheap e-bikes out there on the market because all you want to use it is like going around your neighborhood or back and forth to work. So I get it, because you can get a used car for like $2,000. So I totally get it. That's where MACFOX comes in. This is the X1. Now this bike doesn't have suspension. It doesn't come with fenders, but you can get there for an extra $100 and add fenders onto this bike. It has a small battery. This is a 10.5 amp hour battery. It's a 48 volt system. You do have a 500 watt hub motor in the back, 750 watts in total. You do have a full twist throttle, which is very surprising to me. I think that's actually one of the coolest features of this bike. No hydraulic brakes here, just cable brakes. You do get some nice tires on this bike as well, and you do get a nice headlight up front, which actually works with the bike not being on. It's a nice projector style headlight. You're definitely going to be able to see. Cable management is very nice too. I like the BMX handlebars. The only thing I don't like is there is no rear brake light at all, just a rear reflector. But there is a cable under here, so you guys can order a brake light if you want to hook it up down the road. And just looking at the bike overall, the first thing I thought when I pulled it out of the box and put it together is it reminds me of another bike on the market that costs over twice as much as this, and that's the ZX from Super 73. That's exactly what this bike looks like. You have the handle in the back, you have the same square design almost in a way, you have the nice long saddle seat, which this thing is very comfortable. I took it up and down the street just to kind of test it out and make sure the bike worked first. The seat is surprisingly very good. So I don't want to spend too much time in the garage. It's hot here, man. It's super hot here. So let's kind of walk around the bike really quick so you guys can get a little bit closer view of it, and then I'll put my GoPro on and we'll go take it out and we'll see if it's worth the 900 bucks with using my discount code. And so here is a walk around of the bike. Now you do have these holes right here, which I was saying you could put a bag from the company right up here, or you can have your own bag that you want to put up there and just mount it that way. And then coming down to this battery, you do charge it on this side. You have an on-off switch right here. And then you also have a USB port as well, so you can charge your phone or some other accessories. I like these because sometimes I can charge my GoPro or my microphones or something like that. So that's pretty cool. You have a nice, decently sized chain ring up front. You have a little logo back here that says designed in the USA with global parts. And then you have a single speed. So if you guys are someone that goes uphill or likes to pedal a lot, you have no gears on this bike, so that's a downside for people that love the pedal. To me, I personally don't care, but I know there's some of you guys out there. Now this is how the back looks underneath the bike. This is just a reflector. This is not a brake light. Your brake light connector is gonna be right there. It kind of sticks out like a sore thumb, so I'm gonna probably tuck that away somewhere. But I like the fact that they do give you the cable so you guys can add something on later on. And it comes with a little plug right there as well, so it's not gonna get dirt in it or anything like that. Another thing I noticed on this bike is you do have 3 bolts right here and 3 bolts on the other side, so you guys can hook up something. I don't know if they have something on their website or not, so put saddlebags or a rear rack or something like that, but you do have some mounting spots to put something up there. And then you do have a quick motor disconnect right there, which I think is very nice because if you get a flat, it's very easy to take that apart. Just one zip tie, take off these axle nuts and the covers, unplug that and the chain, you're good to go. Now moving on to the top of the bike, that's kind of how it's going to look like if you're sitting on it. You have some, I like the look of these grips, but they're plastic. They're not like real rubber. I'm not a big fan of them. The brakes feel good even though they're not hydraulic. They're just cable brakes. I love this though, a dedicated headlight button. So you can just push this and push it on and off. And it works even with the bike not being on. So if you look at this little tiny display, which is pretty cute, you know, it's a little tiny thing. And to turn the bike on, obviously you just use this power button right there. It turns on. You have 3 modes. So you have that, which is eco. Well, actually the first mode right here, I should tell you, is just pedal. If you just want to pedal it with no assistance whatsoever, it won't do anything, use that mode. And then you go up 1, that's going to be your eco mode. Go up another thing, that's going to be your mid mode. And then if you go up another one, that's high mode. So you just have 3 modes, that's all you got. And this is your battery bar indicator right there as well. And I love the fact that it has a full twist throttle, which I don't want to pull it right now because the bike is active. Now, I do love the handlebars, like I said, but I had to adjust them. If you guys notice, I had to pull them forward a little bit. Now the bike isn't super cramped like some other e-bikes, like the Ingway M20. That bike was very cramped. You do have a long seat, so you kind of adjust like where you sit at and everything. But for my riding style, to where I was sitting at on the bike, I had to move the handlebars up ever so slightly to feel a little bit more comfortable because I felt like they were just too close to me. The reach from where you sit down is not that far. Another thing is, you guys might want to keep in mind is this seat is about 33 inches off from the ground. So anybody under like 5'5" is probably not going to fit on this bike very well. I would highly suggest being over like at least 5'5" and up, maybe to like 6'5", and you should be good. Just keep in mind, the taller you are, over 6 foot, it's going to be a little bit more hard to pedal because your legs are going to be coming up pretty high. And other than that, I think we went over most of the stuff on the bike. We'll talk about a little bit as we ride, but let's actually see if this bike is worth $900 when using my discount code, or if you should wait and just get the X2 that has suspension and goes faster than this one. I don't know, let's just see. All right, first time out on this bike, I must say that it feels pretty damn comfortable. I like the seating position. I feel like I'm decently high off the ground. Everything ergonomically feels great, like in the hands, like the way the bike sits and everything like that. It feels premium while sitting on it. It's the best way I can explain it. It's a cheap bike, but it just feels nice. Now I'm gonna hit my highest top speed I can hit right now, because that's the first thing I like to do off the bat, because we already know we're on a full battery charge. It's a 10.5 amp hour battery. I don't think we're gonna get very much range out of it. They do say you can get like 38 miles or 37 miles of range in the high mode number 3. But I don't know how well I feel about that. It is a slower e-bike, but that feels like a lot of range for a 10.5 amp hour battery. So I wanted to see what our top speed was, and it says that we're doing 25.3 miles an hour. I'm seeing like 25.9 on here, but it's not going to 26, but it is saying 25. So let's see how accurate that is, because I have my phone recording in my pocket right now. I can do this while we're moving because this bike is actually pretty stable and comfortable. Oh, that is 100% accurate. 25.4 miles per hour, if you guys can see it on my phone. That is 100% accurate. So whatever you see on this display, if you guys can see it, it's a little, I don't know, it's a little tiny. But wow, all right. So the speed that we're doing is accurate. Cool. It's good to know. This bike is so stable that I can just I feel like I can go on my phone and go look up videos on YouTube or text somebody, which technically I don't suggest people doing this, but I feel like I can. This is like not shaking whatsoever. It feels pretty nice. I think Dylan Thompson was right when he messaged me and said like, hey, this is a fantastic e-bike to ride, even though it's not like anything special. This is nice. I thought I was gonna be a little bit disappointed because 25 miles an hour, I was really second guessing about reviewing this bike because I just want a very fast bike to go around and, you know, like just get from point A to point B very fast. This is more like of a cruising bike. This reminds me of the speed of the Rave e-bike that we just reviewed a week ago. But this one obviously has a slower top speed of 3 miles an hour less. But I will say it feels just as comfortable as the Rave, even though I know when going off-road, which we'll test out in a little bit, this is not gonna be as comfortable off-roading. But so far on the road, just going from point A to point B, on regular roads, I mean, it's nice and fantastic. The seat is taking a lot of the vibration and the rough road feeling out of the equation. I'm loving it. I'm absolutely enjoying it so far. All right, you guys know what we do in this little section, but if you guys are new to the videos, we always do a speed test. We're gonna use a throttle only right now. We don't have any gears, so normally on the second one, we go through the gears and stuff like that, but since we have no gears, we're gonna use throttle only from here to the next intersection of the neighborhood, and then we'll try the pedals out without the throttle and see how both are, and we'll see what our top speed is at the very end of the section. So 1, 2, 3, go. Throttle only, I'm not gonna pedal at all. 10 miles an hour, 15 miles an hour, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Okay, we're almost coming up to 24 miles an hour. Most e-bikes we can reach 25 to 28 miles an hour on that stretch of road right there. Unfortunately, this one is it's a little slower. All right, now we're gonna use the pedals only and see how it is, no throttle. And this is probably gonna be a hard start as well because I'm gonna pedal without using the throttle to get started. And sometimes you gotta keep yourself balanced. So let's see how it is. Oh, that's not bad. It's not bad. It kicked in pretty decently well. 10 miles an hour, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19, 20, 21. It feels like it's going faster with pedaling, which is odd. 22, 23, 24, 25 miles an hour. Now this is a spot that we always stop at. It looks like they got rid of the trash that always sits right there in our last video, but they added some tires. So someone dropped off some used tires, I guess. They don't look that bad. So this is the bike out in the sun. Not bad looking, flat black. You can't go wrong. Everything kind of blends in. You got a little bit of the red on the battery, which is, you know, it's subtle, not too bad. I would probably just remove this MACFOX sticker off the forks on the front. There's really not much else to talk about. I mean, it's a pretty, you know, standard looking bike and it's not bad. I'm not mad at it. So I think what I want to do is do some tests coming up here and then take it off road a little bit. Then we'll try out the brakes. All right, so let's do it from a standstill right here. I'm gonna hit the throttle and let's see if it makes it up this, because it's not that powerful. Oh no. Oh, it won't do it. Oh, I'm sliding into the tires. So you're gonna need a running start with hill. So I don't recommend this bike if you're in a hilly area like San Francisco or anything like that. It's just not gonna do it. This is gonna be for like flat roads only, maybe some overpasses in your area. So let's hit this going a little faster. If you hit a little faster, it will kind of come up it, but man, is this thing struggling. Wow. Yeah, that's struggling bad. Let's do it going a little bit faster. All right, here we come. Woo! All right. I didn't want to hit it going that fast because there's no front suspension, so I was a little jarring coming up that little step up. Go, squirrels, go! Oh man, there's so many of them. One of them has to like dart out in front of me. That's just what happens. What's up, little guy? Oh, I thought we were gonna cruise together. I guess not. All right, so we're doing about 23, 24, now about 25 miles an hour. It's not terrible. It's definitely not terrible. I give it almost the same rating as the Rave e-bike. I'd actually probably go down 1 point below the Rave e-bike. I'm not exactly sure what rating I gave that bike, but this feels like a, I don't know, like a 6 out of 10, maybe a 6.5 out of 10. It's doable, it's not gonna be the best, but since you're not going so fast, it doesn't feel that bad. If this bike was doing 35 miles an hour with no suspension, it would definitely feel worse. All right, so turning, not bad at all on these tires. No complaints. It is a very sharp turning e-bike. It's really hard to keep the top speed though. As you're turning, it doesn't really have enough power because you have a lot of resistance, you know, when turning the bike like that. It always keeps dropping mile per hour. So it's like 23, I do a sharp turn, it goes down to 22. I do another sharp turn, it goes from like 22 to 21. It just cannot hold the speed because it doesn't have that much power with the resistance. But let me get up to speed and let's do this brake test and see how well they work. I'm assuming they're gonna do pretty good because, let's be real, this bike only goes 25 miles an hour, it's under 70 pounds, it should do fantastic. I'm expecting good results right now. 25 miles an hour, we're gonna stop right here. 1, 2, 3, go. Woo! Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You can see we slid just a little bit. I stopped right on that thing right there, so not bad. Honestly, that's exactly like 2 bike lengths by, but like I said, it's a 25 mile an hour bike. You can't go wrong with it. So even though I do like hydraulic brakes on most of these bikes, these brakes are very suitable for this type of e-bike. I'm really hoping the X2 has hydraulic brakes. It goes a little bit faster, but only time will tell. I haven't looked into that one yet. But if you are looking at upgrading from maybe this and spending a little tiny bit more money, but you like the style and you like how this review is going and it's something you're interested in, wait for the X2 because it's on pre-order right now. My coupon code will work for that as well. And you'll get full suspension and a little bit more top speed. Another test I like to do is I like to see how fast and active these pedals are in this section. So let's see how well these pedals react. So 1, 2, 3. Not bad, not bad. Let's do it again. All right, it's like a half-second delay. Yeah, not too bad. Maybe a half-second to almost a full second delay on the pedals. That's not bad. I'll give it to them for that price point. That's not bad. Now the throttle, on the other hand, let's see. The throttle has a little bit more of a delay than I'm used to. It's almost a full second delay. So just something that you want to be cautious of if you're like trying to get in and out of traffic, or maybe you're trying to go across the street really quick before cars pass. You have to give yourself time for the throttle. It's not instant. So if you guys see that, I'll do this. I'll count down. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so it's not terrible, but just something to keep in mind. I will say, so far, since I've charged this bike, it says we have done 4 miles, and I haven't went down a single battery bar yet. That's expected because we have 4 battery bars on here. We don't have the traditional 5. It's gonna be very, very hard to see that as well. I don't think you guys are gonna be able to read that. But just to let you know, we haven't went down a battery bar yet. I noticed when I lift up the front, the motor makes a weird noise. Oh, it's decently light in the front. It's not super light in the front, but it's definitely easy enough to pick up the front so you can go off curbs just like I did. Some other e-bikes like the Rave, it felt lighter in the front than this one. It could also be the handlebar adjustment, how I have it pushed forward a little bit. The more you have the handlebars pushed my way, the easier it's going to be to lift up the front. But overall, not too bad, especially if you have to put it on like a bike rack or something on the back of your car. It's going to be a very light bike to pick up. You're not going to have to remove the battery, but if you do, you guys can save a little bit of weight by removing that. But I don't think you would have to. One thing I noticed is that you don't have any type of bell or horn on this bike, so just keep in mind you're not going to be able to alert people like on a bike trail or cars, pedestrians, anything that you're behind them. So just keep that in mind. You could get one of those little ones that, you know, have the little honking thing if you want. Now I feel like I have the perfect e-bike that I'm sitting on right now for anybody that's trying to get into e-bikes that come over my house and like, oh, those are cool, like I want to ride one. I feel like I can throw them on this bike and then be perfectly safe. I felt the same way with a lot of the Super 73 bikes, and since this one is kind of built similar to the ZX was very comfortable and it was very safe to ride, very stable, had no issues with it. I feel the same way with this. So when everyone comes to my house and they're like, hey, I want to try out one of your bikes, this is the bike that I'm going to put them on. I don't feel scared at all like this bike is going to wreck on me. I feel very stable. I can use one hand. Like I said earlier when we got on it, I can go on my phone. I can check my text messages. I don't highly suggest that, but you can. I just highly suggest, you know, everyone make sure you have a helmet, make sure you have gloves. You know, you never know what can happen. It's always a safety thing to do. All right, so now that I have went 6.2 miles is what's saying on here, I have officially went down 1 battery bar. So we have 3 battery bars remaining. I don't know if this bike is one of the same bikes that if you turn the display off and turn it back on, all the battery bars go up because it's going off a voltage sag. I'm not sure if that's how this bike is, but that's just a quick update I want to give you guys. So if this is true and accurate for 6 miles, I mean 6, 12, 18, 24, that's 24 miles of range, and I'm 160 pounds, 165 roughly. I've been eating a lot. That would be my miles of range if these battery bars are accurate, which would be like 24, 25 miles. We'll definitely be doing another video on this bike, taking it back and forth to work. We'll test out the headlight. I just have to figure out a situation for the rear brake light, and why is that car tailgating that truck so bad? Maybe cut them off or something, I don't know. But hopefully I don't get next to them because I don't want to get ran over. But yeah, you guys can subscribe if you guys want to see that video, which we'll do it shortly after doing this review video. So you guys have more content on this bike if you're really thinking about checking it out. And the company should be sending us the X2. We'll also be able to compare that to this one since we'll be riding both of them. And I'll just let you guys know if the other one is legit worth it over this one, depending on the price difference and what you get and how it feels. But I will say right off the bat, this is fantastic. I will give you my final thoughts. I'm gonna go to the house right now. I'll get behind my DSLR camera and run through some of the stuff really quick, and then we'll end the video. Give me a sec. All right, so my final thoughts on this bike are surprising. I actually was not expecting to like this bike as much as I did. Now, this is a fantastic bike for 900 bucks or basically $1,000. Some things that I would highly suggest. Now, the battery is definitely very small, but since it doesn't have that much power, the range is definitely decent for the average person out there. So I don't think you need the secondary battery. Plus, it's gonna make the bike feel a little bit more heavier. It would be nice to have this bag, but you just get a backpack if you have one of those, or if pockets, if you're just gonna carry your phone and the keys of the bike, the battery, whatever. One thing I would highly suggest is the $100 fenders. So it's an extra $100 to add fenders on this bike. If you're definitely gonna be riding where it's gonna be wet or off-roading, you definitely want some fenders. And then you're gonna have to figure out what you're gonna do with the rear brake light, because there is no rear brake light. So look at the website, see if they have one listed on their website, and if not, look to see what uses that plug and order one of those. And I'll put a link down in the description if I find one for you guys. Overall, the headlight is nice. We'll check this out in the next video when I take it to work. It has a daytime running light, which is pretty cool, that I just realized as I pull it in here with the bike being on. The throttle felt very nice. It was decently responsive, not crazy responsive, but it's good enough for this price point. The dedicated headlight button is super nice. I probably over time would change out the grips. The only bad thing about it is this grip is the full throttle grip, so you're kind of limited on what you're going to do in that situation on taking this off and switching it to something else. Having no suspension was not a big deal on this bike at all to me. The seat is very, very comfortable. I like the fact that you have this little bar on the back just in case someone breaks down, or maybe your friend skateboards or something. You can pull them around with this. It's not going to go very fast, but then again, if you're pulling them around doing 20 miles an hour plus on a regular skateboard, it's going to be damn fast. Or an electric skateboard if one of your buddies' batteries dies or something like that. It has happened many times. But overall, let's be honest, it's not a bad bike. You're not getting a whole lot of fancy features on this bike for the price, but I'm gonna highly recommend this one. The only bike that came close to this one is the EB7 e-bike. That bike was fantastic. I'll put a video up here so you guys can check that bike out as well. Compared to this bike, they're almost similar, and I like both of them. I highly recommend this one. So let me know in the comments if you guys are thinking about picking this one up. You guys are the true MVPs for sticking around to the end. I really appreciate all you guys, and we'll wait until we get the X2 and see how that goes. So see you guys in the next one. Peace out.